Welcome back to the Daily Dialogue. I'm Alex, and I'm here with Sophia. Today, we're going back to basics, but with a twist. We're talking about the most frequent, yet often the most stressful situation for any English learner, talking about yourself.
Hi Alex. Oh, tell me about it. Even in our native language, when someone says, "So, tell me a bit about yourself," our brains sometimes just go blank. We forget our name, our job, and why we're even in the room. Laughs. But in English, it adds a whole new level of pressure.
Exactly. Most students learn the school version, "My name is Ivan. I am 30 years old. I live in Moscow. I am a manager." It's grammatically correct, but it sounds like a police report, Sophia. It doesn't start a conversation, it ends it.
A police report, that's so true. It's boring. The goal of an introduction isn't just to give data, it's to build a bridge. You want to give the other person a handle to grab onto so they can ask a follow-up question.
I love that, a handle. In English, we call this the hook technique. Instead of just giving a one-word answer, you add a little bit of flavor. For example, Sophia, if I ask you, "Where are you from?" don't just say the city. Give me a hook.
Okay, let's try. If I say, "I'm from Almaty. It's a beautiful city in Kazakhstan surrounded by huge mountains, so I spent my whole childhood hiking."
Perfect. Now I have three hooks. I can ask about Kazakhstan, I can ask about the mountains, or I can ask about hiking. The conversation is alive. But if you just said, "Almaty," and I don't know where that is, we might have a very awkward silence.
Silence is the enemy of the beginner. Laughs. But Alex, what about the most common question of all, what do you do? In many cultures, this is the first thing people ask. How do we answer this without sounding like we're reading our LinkedIn profile?
This is where people get stuck on titles. I am a junior project management assistant. Nobody knows what that actually means, Sophia. Laughs. Try to explain your job in terms of action. What do you actually do all day? Who do you help?
So, instead of "I am a teacher," I could say, "I help kids fall in love with science," or "I spend my days explaining complicated ideas to 6-year-olds."
Exactly. It's more human. It shows your personality. And remember, in English-speaking cultures, it's very common to talk about your passions alongside your work. You are not just your job. You are a person who works as an accountant but lives for weekend photography.
That's a great point. I often tell my students to use the present, past, future model for a longer introduction. It gives a nice structure.
Oh, break that down for us. That sounds like a great template.
It's simple. Present, what are you doing now? Past, how did you get here? Your background. Future, what are you excited about next? It tells a story. For example, I'm currently working as a freelance designer. I used to work in a big office, but I realized I love the freedom of working from home. In the future, I hope to travel and work from different countries.
That is a 10 out of 10 introduction. It's clear, it's organized, and it tells me who you are as a person. But Sophia, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, confidence. Many beginners feel their English isn't good enough to talk about themselves, so they stay quiet.
The fluency trap again. You don't need a C1 level to be interesting. You just need to be brave. People don't care about your grammar as much as they care about your energy. If you smile and try to share a bit of your world, people will help you with the words.
English is a bridge, not a test. If you can cross the bridge, you win. But how do we handle the personal questions that might feel a bit too much? Like age, or marital status? In some cultures, these are normal, but in English, they can be a bit tricky.
That's a very important cultural note. We'll definitely dive into that in part 2, along with how to end a conversation gracefully and how to practice your elevator pitch at home.
I'm looking forward to that. Sophia, you mentioned a very tricky part of talking about yourself, cultural differences. What is normal to ask in one country can be rude or too personal in an English-speaking environment.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen this happen so many times. In some cultures, it's very common to ask, "Are you married?" or "How much do you earn?" within the first 5 minutes of meeting someone. But in the UK or the US, that might make the other person feel a bit cornered.
Cornered, exactly. We call those sensitive topics. Generally, when you're talking about yourself to a new acquaintance, it's safer to stick to what we call the safe circle.
The safe circle, I love a good acronym. Break it down for us, Alex. What does it stand for?
It's simple: S for studies/skills, A for activities, hobbies, F for food/travel, and E for entertainment, movies/music. These are the universal bridges to connection. You can talk about your favorite Netflix show or your cooking experiments for hours without making anyone feel uncomfortable.
That's a great filter. So, if I'm at a networking event or a party, I should focus on the A and the E. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi movies, but I also love spending my weekends gardening. It's light, it's fun, and it shows you have a life outside of your computer screen.
Precisely. But Sophia, let's talk about the elevator pitch. This is a term from the business world, but it's useful for everyone. Imagine you have only 30 seconds in an elevator to tell someone who you are. What do you say?
It's like a mini movie trailer for your personality. Most people try to cram too much information in. They try to tell their whole life story from birth to today. Laughs. But a good pitch is only 3 sentences: who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
That is the golden ratio. Let's try it. If I'm at an English-speaking club, I might say, "Hi, I'm Alex. I work in digital marketing, but my real passion is learning about psychology. I'm here today to practice my English and meet some new people who love deep conversations."
That's perfect. It's clean, it's honest, and it gives me a reason to talk to you. But Alex, what happens when the conversation is over? Laughs. For beginners, the exit is the most awkward part. They don't know how to stop talking without being rude.
The awkward fade out, I've been there. You just slowly back away while the other person is still talking. Don't do that. In English, we use transition phrases. You acknowledge the conversation and then give a reason to leave.
Like, it was so nice meeting you, Alex. I'm going to go grab another coffee/snack now, but I hope to see you later.
Exactly. Or, I've really enjoyed talking to you, but I should probably go find my friend/boss. Have a great evening. It's polite, it's clear, and it leaves a positive, last impression. Because people might forget what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel at the end.
Last impressions are just as important as first impressions. But Alex, how can our listeners practice this at home? It's one thing to hear us talk about it, but it's another thing to actually open your mouth and speak.
I have 2 words for you: mirror practice. Stand in front of your mirror. Look yourself in the eye. And say your introduction out loud. 5 times. 10 times. Until the words feel heavy in your mouth and you don't have to think about the grammar.
And don't be afraid to record yourself on your phone. Listen to the recording. Are you speaking too fast? Are you sounding like a robot? Adjust your energy. Use your hands. Smile while you talk. It actually changes the sound of your voice and makes you sound more native.
It's true. Smiling adds brightness to your vowels. And my final tip: keep it simple. You don't need academic words to talk about yourself. Simple words used correctly are much more impressive than big words used incorrectly.
Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, as Leonardo da Vinci said. I think that's a perfect place to wrap up today's lesson. Talking about yourself is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with every try.
Don't wait to be perfect to be social. Start today. Say hi to a neighbor, or just introduce yourself to your cat in English. Laughs. Every word counts.
My cat is already very impressed with my English. Thanks for this bridge building talk, Alex. I feel like I'm ready for a party.
Me too. And to everyone listening, you have a unique story. Don't be afraid to share it. The world wants to meet the real you, not the perfect grammar you.
See you in the next episode of the Daily Dialogue. Stay brave, stay simple.
Bye everyone.
Bye.